Russia's foreign minister is celebrating an exodus. Sergey Lavrov says the country has, by force of circumstances, got rid of many Russians who saw the invasion of Ukraine as someone else's war, and accuses some of those who left of still trying to harm Russia from abroad.
There were people who, from the very beginning of the special military operation, decided that this was, so to speak, someone else's war. By force of circumstances, we got rid of a large number of such people. They have now spread out across different countries and are doing their own things. But many of them are still trying to harm Russia and are discussing its breakup. We have seen all of this in our history before. We have been through all of it.
The Kremlin is now openly tying its attacks on Ukraine to strikes on Russian commercial infrastructure. Asked about Ukrainian attacks on Ozon warehouses, Dmitry Peskov said Kyiv is already feeling Russia's response and will continue to feel it. By that logic, Ukraine must have been giving Moscow a reason to bomb it for years, long before Ozon warehouses ever entered the story.
The main point is that this does not allow the Kyiv regime to influence the dynamic currently being observed on the front lines in any way. As for the strikes, they serve to further underscore the true nature of the Kyiv regime. And here, of course, it is essential to recall the president's words: "You opened Pandora's box yourselves. Now, face the consequences." The responses are felt in Kyiv every day, every night, and they will continue to feel them.
Vladimir Putin has reopened the Nord Stream fight with Poland. Responding to Donald Tusk, he claimed Warsaw opposed the Baltic Sea route because it meant losing Russian gas transit revenue.
I have known Mr. Tusk for a long time, both during the preparation for the construction of Nord Stream 2 and during the construction itself. We have one gas supply line that passes through the territory of Poland to Europe, and a second line was prepared, also through the territory of Poland. The builders had even installed the corresponding structures there. But in the end, we decided to run the second line along the bottom of the Baltic Sea to minimize risks, primarily, of course, of an economic nature. And even then, Poland was against it. This was partly because, first of all, certain economic advantages as a transit country are lost. And secondly, Poland would receive less, which is exactly what happened. It began to receive less income from the transit of our hydrocarbons.
Russia may be preparing another major wave of mobilization. President Volodymyr Zelensky says dictator Putin plans to draft around 300,000 more troops after Russia's September parliamentary election, with the total recruitment drive potentially rising further next year. At the same time, the Kremlin is seizing on political arguments inside Ukraine. Peskov has portrayed calls for wartime elections as proof of division in Kyiv. Zelensky's answer is that Washington should have no illusions left about Moscow's intentions. Russia, he says, has shown no genuine approach.
I am glad that the United States has lost all illusions about whether Russia truly wants to end this war. I believe that America will lose all its contradictions and phobias about Russia. The Russians must be brought to the negotiating table. There finally must be sanctions that will make them howl. Ukraine must be given everything that will force them to end the war. And this is possible.
Nordic and Baltic leaders came to Kyiv with a harder message than another promise of solidarity. Ukraine must be backed to win, not pushed towards a premature deal. The visit also brought concrete defense industrial cooperation, with the Finnish companies moving closer to Ukrainian partners.
I did not and I do not believe in a peace deal. Somebody has to win, and it should be Ukraine. Somebody has to take upper hand, and that's why we discussed today that we've wasted too much talking about a peace deal. I really hope, same as Denmark was expressing and Mette was expressing it hardly. We could be wrong and it's great, but let's better prepare for the worst, and let's spend the time and energy in supporting Ukraine where it needs the most.
I'm really glad that I brought with me 7 Finnish defense companies from the defense industry that have been able to start working more closely with their Ukrainian counterparts. But I think the message that we want to give, we don't come here just, for the visuals or for the symbol. The basic message from NB8 is that we stand behind Ukraine.
Britain's new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, has chosen Kyiv for his first overseas visit and arrived with something more concrete than another declaration of solidarity. London has agreed that MBDA can release classified information on British components used in the long-range Scalp missile. The aim is to help establish local assembly lines in Ukraine together with the fronts. For Kyiv, the significance is strategic. Fewer weapons dependent entirely on foreign stockpiles and more long-range capability built closer to the battlefield.
On Ukraine's 35th anniversary of independence, the Ukrainian people should be in no doubt. The UK is behind you today and for as long as it takes. I want the Ukrainian people to hear it directly from me, that our support will not waver. Ukraine's security is our security. The friendship between our two countries will long outlast Russia's illegal war. Russia should be in no doubt of our resolve. We will not back down until there is a just and lasting peace.
Moscow is attacking the British plan from the other side. Dmitry Peskov says London is directly fueling the war by preparing to share classified data that could help Ukraine produce long-range Scalp missiles, and says Russian forces will hunt for the facilities involved.
Britain is participating in this war on the side of the Kyiv regime. Britain methodically and regularly fans the flame and plots in order to not let the peace process go ahead in any way.
One question the Kremlin does not answer. If future Ukrainian Scalp production is now presented as the reason for Russian strikes, what exactly was the excuse for years of missile attacks before those production plants even existed? The same briefing then exposed another crack in Moscow's all-security architecture. Asked about Armenia's growing distance from the CSTO, Peskov said Yerevan is free to leave the Russian-led alliance if it no longer sees membership as serving its national interests.
If Yerevan no longer needs membership in such an important organization for regional security, based on its national interests, it is free to make the appropriate decision and leave the organization.
The European Commission has approved another 6.1 billion euros for Ukraine's defense needs. The money is intended for air defense systems, missiles, ammunition, and radars. It comes on top of 16 billion euros in previously approved procurement plans, with more than 8 billion already disbursed. The political message matters as much as the number. Europe is no longer treating support for Ukraine as a short emergency program. It is becoming part of Europe's own long-term defense architecture.
The additional funding is designed to move urgently needed military equipment to Ukraine as Russia continues to intensify its attacks, with air defense and ammunition among the central priorities.
France has also promised to accelerate deliveries of military equipment and interceptors missiles. After a lengthy call with Emmanuel Macron, Zelensky said the focus was the shortage that now shapes almost every conversation with allies: ballistic missile defense. Ukraine expects fewer US-made Patriot interceptors this year than in previous years, while Russia is increasing ballistic missile production. Paris is pushing deliveries already agreed and supporting work around the Franco-Italian SAMP-T system, as well as licensing arrangements for missile production in Ukraine.
The priority is anti-ballistic defense. Ukraine needs decisions that protect people now and through the coming winter. Systems, interceptors, and the ability to produce more of them with partners.
Russia's commercial logistics network is becoming a new vulnerability in Ukraine's deep strike campaign. Ozon removed the locations of 56 Russian warehouses from its public knowledge base before the first confirmed direct strikes on the company's hubs. It did not solve the problem. On August 22, a major facility in Chapayevsk was hit. On August 23, Orenburg followed. And August 24, fires were reported at a large Ozon facilities in Stavropol region in Kyiv in Dagestan. Votak verified the footages of their warehouses, while reporting on some of the other locations still relies on regional and social media accounts. Across 3 days, 5 large regional fulfillment centers have now been reported hit.
Ozon's Russian warehouse cards no longer show physical or legal addresses, Yandex Maps coordinates, or driving directions. 4 foreign hubs, in Astana, Almaty, Minsk, and Yerevan, remained listed with detailed location information. The exact date of the change is unclear, but Votak found a seller's chat message from August 3rd reporting that warehouse and sorting center addresses had disappeared. Ozon support described the change as an update to its information system. Sellers were told they would now receive precise addresses individually through their accounts or technical support. Yet on July 21st, a user in the same chat had posted the address of the Vnukovo warehouse and said it came directly from Ozon's knowledge base. That means the locations remained publicly available at least until late July. The attempt at secrecy began before the first confirmed direct strike on an Ozon logistics center.
A different kind of pressure is building on NATO's eastern flank. The Times reports that Russian electronic warfare and GPS spoofing may be diverting Ukrainian long-range drones into Allied airspace. Around a dozen drones may have been pushed off course since March, which incidents involving Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and Finland. The physical damage has so far been limited. The political effect is the point. Every drone that crosses a NATO border creates confusion over attribution, air defense failures, and Ukraine's responsibility, precisely the kind of ambiguity Moscow can exploit.
Some of this activity may be designed to test vulnerabilities or prepare the ground for further action. But NATO should not automatically treat every hybrid operation as preparation for a direct military attack. The requirement is vigilance, not panic. Deterrence still works, and Russia knows it.
South Korea says North Korea is continuing preparations for an additional troop deployment to Russia, although Seoul sees no sign that the move is imminent. The military pipeline is already substantial. South Korea's defense ministry estimates Pyongyang has supplied Russia with more than 15 million rounds of artillery ammunition, measured in 152mm equivalents, as well as short-range ballistic missiles and other weapons systems.
Preparations for an additional deployment are continuing, but there are currently no signs that a new troop movement is imminent. Weapons transfers to Russia, including short-range ballistic missile systems, are continuing.
There is a second security consequence well beyond Ukraine. Seoul believes battlefield use and Russian technical assistance may be helping North Korea improve missile accuracy. The war is therefore functioning as a live testing environment for weapons that are also designed with the South Korea, Japan, and US forces in Asia in mind. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe on this channel and please subscribe on my personal channel, Not Just Politics.